Hey everybody, it's me, Stephanie, on My Great and Spacious World, and today I want to talk about higher leadership, apostles and prophets, if they know what we know, and what that means. I think for most of us, right after we leave the church, one of the first questions is, do the prophets know what I know? Do the apostles know what I know? And you start thinking like, surely if I've found out these things and I've come to these conclusions, surely I'm not the only person. And if anyone were to understand things better than me, it would be people that have been in it longer and are higher up. So my first thought was, okay, there's all these questions, all these things that aren't lining up. Why aren't the brethren talking about it? Why aren't they giving us answers? If you're this high up and you've been in the church this long, you know about these things. I was really hoping that they would give answers. And then after that, you realize, they're not going to talk about these things. And then you start asking yourself, why? Why won't they talk about these things? I've had so many ideas. There's the church is true and they talk to God. There's, even though the church isn't true, they literally believe it. And then there's, they know it's not true. And what are their intentions? Are they greedy? Do they believe that they're doing good in the world, or are they trapped inside this organization? So let's just break down these ideas and talk about them in depth. Okay, so let's talk about they think it's true. This idea makes sense for me because I just can't imagine living your everyday life as a leader and to feel like you're leading a lie. So it would make more sense to me that they have in some way made sense of these things and they believe it's true. So in the believing it's true, maybe it is really true. I mean, I highly doubt it and I wouldn't stand behind that claim. But who knows? Maybe God is real and he really chose Joseph to be his prophet, even though Joseph was an extremely flawed person, and God really does love polygamy, and, maybe there is a God that I, completely disagree with that leads the Mormon church. It's a possibility. I wouldn't bet on it, but, it could be true and they could be real leaders. Or it could not be true, but they could believe that it's still true. And in that case, if they believe it's true, then they're probably deploying things like denial. They could be deploying confirmation bias. They could be doubled down, could be seeing what they want to see. And so there is ways that I do believe that they could face this information and still be believing. And then there's the question, if they don't believe, what does that say about them as people? I'd say the first thing I thought is, if they don't believe and they're still leading this church, well, that makes them evil, awful, narcissistic people. And that could be an option. Maybe they are power hungry and they love the praise. They are mini celebrities. They are celebrities in this religion. People worship the ground they walk on. People believe they can do no wrong. And people hang on their every word. I'm sure that would feel really good. And we look at that and we judge that and we say, I would never fall prey to that. I would never enjoy that so much that I would refuse to give it up. I don't know. Have any of us really been a celebrity? Have any of us ever been treated like a demigod? Maybe if everyone told you that you were perfect and you could do no wrong, maybe that would inflate your ego to a point where you start to believe that message. So, that could be a reality that they're living in that we just like don't understand because we have people telling us we're wrong all the time. Like, we think we would do one thing in a situation, but a lot of us have not been in that situation. In fact, I'm going to say pretty much most of us haven't been in that situation. Most of us do not have millions of followers that think we can do no wrong. So yeah, it's hard to say what we really would do in that situation. Another thing is I think about everything a person would have to do to become a prophet or an apostle. Think about like the years of sacrifice, because they're usually pretty old when they're put in, and usually you've had to be like a bishop and a stake president and an area president, and a lot of them did service missions and were like, or not service missions. A lot of them, what's it called? A lot of them were mission presidents. A lot of them have served as missionaries when they were younger and as a couple missionaries when they're older. So they've like dedicated their life to this. And I think that's one of the hard things. I was only 33 and in a few presidencies, and I still felt this resistance to let go because of all the time I had dedicated to it and all the things I had done and how I'd like grown in my community, and I felt like I was influential, and I enjoyed contributing to that community, and to walk away from that is hard. And I just can't imagine. I feel like that would be compounded. If I was 66, I would, I'd have double the experiences. Like if I was older and if I had sacrificed more time and more of my life to this, don't you think it would make it that much harder to give it up? Maybe. Also, the higher up you get, the more perks you get. So like prophets and apostles, they get paid. They get to travel the world. All their prosperity gets free education. And that one is the one that kills me. Like, I would like to think that I couldn't be bought off by money. Again, here's another situation where I don't know, like I've never been offered that much money to preach to a bunch of people, but I would like to think that I couldn't be bought off for money. But all of your posterity getting free education, that one would be hard for me to decline, because it would feel so good to be like, I can bless everyone who comes after me. Like this one choice could give all future generations education. I value education, and I value the idea of leaving something behind for my posterity and making their lives, providing a better life for them. So I think that would be really hard for me to pass up. So yeah, you're getting all this money. You're a mini celebrity. You get all these perks, and would that make it very hard for you to just give it all up? Also, you're up this high. If you admit it's wrong, okay, so like I admit it's wrong, and I have my family members and my friends coming at me. But if they admit it's wrong, they don't just have family members and friends coming for them. They have millions of followers that are going to come after them. Also, if they believe it's not true, I think I even went through this stage, like even if it's not true, it still does enough good in the world, and it's still something I want to be a part of. I can believe that it's not true, but still participate and reap the benefits of community and be a part of something good in the world. Like I could see them functioning from that aspect. I do know that John Dehlin interviewed someone, and I forgot his name, but he was a member of the 70 and had received his second anointing. And so he had access to the higher up apostles. And I know he quoted Jeffrey R. Holland saying that Mormonism has transcended its issues and not to get hung up on them. So, when I hear that, I interpret it as he acknowledges there's issues with the church, but he thinks that the church has transcended those issues, and it's better now. It's better now. If you could truly believe that the church does more good than bad, then it might be easy to stay and keep preaching. And I know some members, even on the local level, stay for those reasons. And, if that's a good enough reason for a local member to decide, then, it's probably, I could see that as a reason for a general authority to decide. And still, I fight with myself, like, they should do what's right, and they should be honest, and they should, like, if you don't believe something's true, you should be honest and be like, I don't believe it's true, but I still believe in this organization. Like, honesty. I still think it's the right thing to do, to be honest with people. So I was really stuck on that for a while. Like, why won't they just come out and be honest? And then I started thinking more about it, and I'm thinking, like, I wonder if some of them, I'm wondering if they don't believe, if some of them keep going because there's so many people out there that do believe. And, like, what would happen to the church as a body if an apostle or prophet came out and admitted that the church wasn't true? I know, like, some people would not be able to handle that, and I look at the struggle that I went through, like, it was super rough for me. Leaving the church, just really, really hard. But I feel like I had more of a choice. Like, what if it was thrust upon me? And it's something I didn't want to know. I feel like it's easier for someone to leave the church if they come to that conclusion. And I feel like you can't really thrust that on a person. If you thrust it on them, they're going to go into denial. They're going to go into confirmation bias. They're going to double down. It's going to freak them out, and they're going to self-preserve. And so I just think if people were forced to hear something that they didn't want to hear, I feel like some people might not know how to cope with that, and that it would cause them a great deal of pain and maybe even wreck their life in some way. Like, if they don't have the coping skills to get through such a huge mental shift. And so, like, maybe when I left, I didn't have to worry about my decision affecting the whole church body. If I had to consider that me being truthful would affect millions of people, I think that would make the decision harder for me. I still hope I would, because I believe in truth, but I give space that would be super hard. Here's another thing to consider. There would also be, if everyone doesn't come out, if all the apostles and prophets don't show a united front in coming out and speaking the truth, say just one person says it, they are going to be ostracized, for sure. They're going to be shut down, ostracized. They're going to be villainized. And the church will just keep going. It'll keep going with the leaders that it has, and the followers that still want to follow. And then if they show a united front, say they did show a united front and were truthful altogether, people would still reject the idea that this isn't true. They'd go and find other breakoffs of Mormonism. While I think there's a lot of harmful things within Mormonism in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I also think the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a lot more healthy than other breakoffs. And then there's also some breakoffs that are a little more healthy, but I could just see a lot of people breaking off and making their own crazy religions or joining other crazy religions. And we've seen time and time again how Mormons can take doctrine and do some crazy stuff with it. I mean, we've got Chad Daybell in the news, and we've got the LeBaron brothers, a polygamist breakoff down in Mexico that reinstated blood atonement. So maybe the prophets and apostles feel that they can do better and lead better than other people could. And maybe they believe that that they're doing enough good to justify the lie. That's if they don't believe, which I'm not saying they don't. I don't know if they do or don't. And they're not ever going to discuss these issues. They're never going to discuss what the CES letter has brought up. They're never going to get really personal about how they've dealt with these issues. If any of them don't believe, so far they're showing that they're not going to speak out about it. And then there's like the ultra conspiracy theory that I've had where I'm like, maybe they are trapped in there. And maybe there is such thing as blood atonement in the higher ups. And, they are a powerful church. They have over $100 billion. I'm pretty sure they're an organization that could put a hit out on a person and hide it. I'm sure they're an organization that could make someone disappear. So maybe they have this understanding in the higher ups that if you don't agree with us, you're done. Now, I'm not saying I believe that. It was just an idea that passed through my head. Those are my thoughts on, do the apostles and prophet know about the issues that we all know about, and what is their motivation for leading the church? Now, I want to hear what you think. What kind of things have you thought of as you've thought about this subject? And where do you fall? So go down to the comments and let me know your thoughts. While you're down there, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.